Have you seen Muslim Matchmaker on Hulu? Well, let's talk about it. Hit the like and subscribe button as the intro plays. All right, so Muslim Matchmaker is a show about two matchmakers who are matching Muslim people in relationships. Go figure. Hence the name. All right, so the matchmakers are Hoda and Yasmin. Hoda is out of Houston, and Yasmin, I don't know where she's out of, but Hoda's married and Yasmin is divorced twice. So the first person that they match up with, her name is Miriam. She's in Houston also. She's a 30-year-old Egyptian software engineer. She's a conservative girl, and she, obviously has had a hard time finding love. So that's why she enlisted these matchmakers. Now, she kind of describes herself as the queen of her group. But her process is what is probably messing up her relationships. So Hoda asked her, what are her likes and dislikes? Basically her non-negotiables, or what she will have or won't have. She basically says she wants a leader of the home. It's so funny that these women in these high-powered positions really want a leader. Do y'all really want a leader? She wants someone who's protective and family-oriented and who speaks Arabic and who's social and must love 80s music. Okay. And must like some adventure. She doesn't want a smoker, especially hookah, and she doesn't want anybody that's bad with finances. I think that's key. Finances, what I found from this girl, is key. And you know what? Finances with everybody's key, because they say that's what ends marriages mostly. She didn't want to someone who steals or murders. So she just wants what everybody wants. But she is very particular, this girl. Then we go over to Atlanta and we meet this new guy. His name is Felani. Felani's an African-American Muslim. I instantly noticed something. When Yasmin went to Felani's house, and I noticed because I watched most of the season, she didn't do this to anybody. She just did it to him, the black guy. And I'm not one of those people who plays that racism card, but it was something odd. She went through his house. Now, mind you, he's eclectic and he's an artist. He says he's in marketing, as everybody's in marketing these days. Marketing, as well as he does content development, and he's a photographer. He's a photographer who does content, basically. So she went through his house and she was really and maybe she did this with other people, but that's not what they edited in with other people. They definitely edited in his house. She went through every nook and cranny. She knows he had dust bunnies. She said, but you're Muslim. You're supposed to, I guess keep a clean home. Now, mind you, his house was not dirty. I mean, yeah, he had a little bit of dust here and there, but his house was very orderly. And she was just talking about his kitchen because he had dishes in the sink. Most guys his age are living with their moms. For real. Let's keep it real. I mean, I have my eye on you. I have my eye on you, Yasmin. I really do. It's something was a little off there.
And although my mind tells me that she's a messy, tacky bitch, my heart tells me she really doesn't mean any harm.
With your interaction with Felani. So then Felani, they meet with Felani's mom. Her name is Kaisha or Keisha. I'm not sure. He says his mom is everything. And something I learned about Islam is, according to Felani, is there's a ranking in Islam. There's Allah, the Prophet Muhammad, your mom, your mom, your mom, your mom, your father. So basically, your mom is the road to heaven. Keep that in mind. Nobody writes too many songs about their fathers. It's always about mama, mama, I love my mama, and Papa was a Rolling Stone. So then they go into what, Felani's likes and dislikes are in a woman. He says, he wants someone who's always facing Allah and who's fit. And he can deal with the tomboy type. He likes short hair. Are you trying to tell us something, Felani? I'm just kidding. He said he likes Demi Moore's haircut in Ghost. It was so cute. And he wants a strong woman like Oprah. His mom mentioned that, he used to have a picture cut out of Oprah on his wall. What he does dislike is too rigid about their faith. Professional types. Doesn't get his his love languages and offensive socially. And socially, he don't, if you have a post he doesn't like, he's gonna cut you real quick. So then we Mosby back over to Houston, where we see Hoda at home with her husband Abdul. We find out that she had a long distance relationship. She met him in Istanbul, and he was in North Carolina, and blah blah blah. I think this is common. So then we go over to back to Hoda, who I have my eye on you, Hoda.
You mean you have
she
your
mentions
eye on
the
Yasmin.
3 rules. They have 3 rules. One is you do 3 dates, you go for 3 months, and then if you decide that you want to continue, you go into this more intensive questioning period. You ask these 300 questions. I remember a few years ago there was this test. They said it was like answer 150 questions to fall in love with somebody instantly. That's how you can. These are in-depth questions where you can get to the root of what people's personalities are and if you can have chemistry with this person. So then we head over to New York where we meet a lady named Noreen. Noreen is an attorney. She's Bangladeshi. She says she's American, Bangladeshi, and Muslim. That's how she categorizes herself. She's an attorney, and she obviously is more of a liberal Muslim because she doesn't, keep halal, as well as she, I guess, imbibes in cocktails because that's the opening scene that we saw of Noreen. So she's, I think, looking for someone to match her energy. And as she meets up with Hoda, Hoda gets
Yasmin.
down to the nitty gritty with people. She gets more personal.
Yasmin
She asks
gets down
Noreen,
to the
are you
nitty-gritty.
tough? Because, she's from New York. She lives in Queens. And, those New York girls have a sort of edge. And she says, I am sweet, but don't mess with me. So basically, Noreen is a don't start no one, be none type of person. So we go through Noreen's likes and dislikes. She wants somebody who likes going to concerts because a lot of people who keep halal, they don't go to concerts. They don't believe in concerts, that's something I didn't know. That's new to me. And she's open to growing her faith. And she mentions her deem. Is it her deem? That's growing faith. And she's 5'10", so she wants someone who's tall. And so Hoda says, I'm 5'10" too. I married 2 5'8" guys. So would you go with somebody 5'8"? She said, I guess I can. But she really doesn't want that. She says she wants someone with a hair full of well, basically hair on the head. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. But nowhere else. And so Hoda says, then I guess you don't want a Muslim guy because, they're supposed to be hairy, I guess. A lot of Middle Eastern guys are hairy. And she wants someone with good banter, which, good banter can be, witty and funny. And it could be smart too. And she says she wants both. She wants somebody who wants kids and who has main character energy. And main character energy basically is you are, I guess, a lead, but you don't necessarily need all of the attention. But that doesn't say main character to me. That just says you are supporting role. But I guess you can be a main character if that's the case. But I get what she says. And then she also says she doesn't want anybody who's a misery Muslim. That's someone who's self-righteous and, who's just really rigid and judgmental. And she doesn't want somebody who's misogynistic and homophobic or racist. And Hoda's like, no, you don't. Not that. I was like, Hoda, that's probably you, but whatever.
Yasmin is probably you.
Then we go back to Miriam. Miriam is going on her first date. And excuse me. Wait, I kept saying Hoda for the last person.
You said that. You did.
It was Yasmin, not Hoda. I'm sorry. Miriam is on her first date and Hoda is chaperoning her. She decided that her first date shall be in an appliance store or furniture store because she needs a washer and dryer and she wanted to see what his thoughts are on finances. So what kind of dryer he picks out for her determines what his thinking is. Like, if he picks out a really expensive one, but doesn't really, isn't functional, he's frivolous, I guess. So, that's her reasoning. What kind of, and so this guy shows up. His name is Omar. Omar's a cute guy. He has a nice, pleasant face, a good smile. And they, walk through the appliance store and he's like, why would you want to come here? And basically he's like, I don't know. You trust me to pick out your appliances. She finds out Omar is also Egyptian. He's Egyptian and he lives in California. And he lives here without family. He grew up in Bahrain. And she asks him if he likes Egypt or the United States better. He says he likes it here. So instantly I realized they don't really have much in common. But I think because, what's her name? I can't think of her name. The girl. The queen. Miriam. Sorry. Because Miriam wants to get married so bad, she's down for it. The funny thing that I realize about this show is, versus Indian matchmaking, whether they have a connection or not, they still have to go through this 3 months thing. Because I noticed instantly off the bat, when we'll get there on later episodes, that a lot of these people have no chemistry. None whatsoever. But I guess it might not be that important.
But I do not believe in love.
I don't know, but Omar and Miriam seem to have some chemistry. Is it sustainable? We'll find out later. So they have their first date, and then we hop on back over to Atlanta, where Falani's now having his first date. We're introduced to this girl from Maryland, from the DMV area. Her name is Omnia. Instantly I noticed Omnia is nothing like the description that he asked for. He wanted someone who was fit. He wanted somebody with short hair. She is neither. She's a cute girl, but she is not what he asked for. He did say his preference was black women, so that was, relieving, I guess, for black women. Because, the thing I noticed about Falani, he's 27, but he's very mindful, as well as he is very introspective. He knows who he is, and he's very articulate and well-spoken. However, I feel like a lot of these Gen Zs, they have all the knowledge because they have all the access to all this information everywhere on the internet and socially, that they can articulate very well, and they're very much so in charge of their own agency. However, I feel like they lack a certain level of feeling for things. It's weird. Like, he can articulate everything that he wants, but it doesn't seem like the feeling is there, just from my noticing him on the show. And speaking of feeling, I knew off the bat that these two had no chemistry whatsoever, but they were forcing it. I noticed that Omnia, though she might be a nice girl and might have a sense of humor, she wasn't showing it. And I think that they're not well matched, because he's a quick-witted guy. He's a quirky guy. He's an artsy guy. So it's fine if you're not quirky and artsy. However, if you can't get the quirky or artsy person that you're paired with, that's the problem. So he would say things like, oh, he does like TV references. He knows a lot. He knows a lot about a lot of stuff. And she's looking at him like he's crazy. He shows her his photography, and she instantly says, well, what am I looking at? That's a blow to an artist's ego. I know we shouldn't be going off of ego, but that's a blow to an artist. Like Erykah Badu says,
keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
So then he asked her, he's just trying to make conversation, because I could tell that it's hard having a conversation with someone who isn't necessarily conversationalist, and she's just overly reserved. She's too reserved for him, in my opinion. So he asked her, like, what do you prefer, cake or pie? And she says cheesecake. And he says cheesecake is actually a pie because it has a crust. And she's like, what? Cheesecake is a cake because it says it in the name, cheesecake. Anyhow, she started to warm up a bit, but I don't really see it for these two. But we'll see. So, and Falani also mentioned that he didn't necessarily have that initial spark with her. And I think the initial spark is important. I really do. Because it's hard to get later on, that initial spark. You can try, especially for men. Men, if they don't feel it for you physically, it's a wrap. So then we mosey back on over to Miriam and Omar. They've moved on their date. They've now gone to an ice cream shop. And Omar asks Miriam if she wants kids. And she pauses for a minute because she mentioned earlier on that she wanted 10 children. After one child, then determine how many children you want, I think. Because you could say you want 5 kids, but to have one first, that might change your mind. And so she just said, I want a lot of children. He said, a lot? She asked him what he does for work. He said, I'm a DJ. So that gave her pause instantly. She's like, a DJ? I mean, a DJ? You thought a DJ was good for me, Hoda? I mean, she's a software engineer making $200 an hour, and she says she wants a leader. So hopefully Omar has a second job. Hopefully. But, you know, and he says he DJs Afro beats and a lot of stuff, because she asked if she liked Arab music. He says, I DJ Afro beats, and I forgot the other genre. But I was like, oh, I want to hear his mixes. I love Afro beats. So then they end the date because he has to go back to LA with the selfie, which I think is odd. People doing selfies on first dates. So then we head back over to Omnia. She's meeting with Yasmin. Yasmin wants to get the skinny on the date. She wants to know, how do you think you did on this date, Omnia? And she said, instantly, I'm always, very reserved. And she said, yeah. And the way you were talking to him wasn't too cool. Like, she was just, she was very anti and she was very date 10, telling her how she really felt. And that doesn't necessarily work. So then we meet back up with Noreen. Noreen's going on her first date. She meets up with this guy named Fahim. Fahim, he has a pleasant face. A little fat round face, nice little smile. They go to play skee ball. They hit it off well. And, Noreen's thing is she really, is really important, the halal to haram ratio. That's the measure of values on a scale of stricter to looser adherence, everybody. Halal to haram. They're going to say that a lot, this show. Halal to haram. Because I think that's important because there's so many different sets of Muslims around the world. Everybody doesn't have the same level of strictness to liberal in their faith or their practice, because there are a lot of rituals to uphold. Same with Christianity. I'm assuming same with many religions. Some are more strict than others. Like you have in Christianity, the Pentecostal, then you have the non-denominational unity people. Like I used to go to a unity church and it was very liberal. You have the all is welcome, and then you have the people, no gays allowed. So it's pretty much, I don't know if it's like that in Islam. However, they have to see if they're on the same page for the most part. So then we get to Omnia and Fulani and Omnia's second date. Mind you, they're doing this thing long distance. These people were flying in. So their second date is at a paint place. They're painting. And so Fulani asked her, like, are you going to paint your French girls? And she's like, huh? And he said, that's from the Titanic. And, see, that's the thing. If you're somebody that references movies like I do, you need somebody who gets it. And this girl doesn't get it. She's a little too straight-laced for him. But that's how we kind of end the second episode. I wasn't intending to go through both episodes, but I did. So drop into the comments. Tell me if you've seen this show. What are your thoughts on this matchmaking style that these ladies have, that Hoda and Yasmin have? All right, like and subscribe.